Another story, short story from A Dress for a Queen. It's one of the first stories I've written. It's very short, a tidy little number, and it's called Mavis and Me Do Half-Life. And it was written because that's quite a while ago, Loch Gilpert had it was like an installation art thing, and you got to go on a bus, and it took you into the forest somewhere, and you watched these actors perform this play, jumping off trees and stuff, and nobody really understood it. Well, I didn't. And at the end, I didn't know it was the end, and nobody knew when to clap until they kind of was waiting. So it was a bit confusing. So I wrote this, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Mavis and I walked into the Argyle for a quick one. I had walking shoes and Dad's jacket on for warmth, while Mavis had opted for leather, lipstick, and flowery wellies. Mavis posed by the bar. She had 2 tickets for Half-Light's show and a novel's worth of opinions about it. Mavis liked to think she was arty. Me, I'm more a Rubens fan. Lots of fat women, safely framed and hung in a warm room with coffee and a toilet nearby. For a woman of a certain age, that's comfort. "You're heading for the Antarctic," said Malcolm, the barman. Malcolm is the sort of guy who thinks culture is anything written in French and Gaelic is what French cook mushrooms in. He wouldn't know art if it jumped up and ripped his nails out one by one, and he wasn't impressed when we told him about Half-Life. "What's that when it's at home?" he said. "It's outdoor art," said Mavis. "Something to do with bones and cremation, and we've been invited." Half-Life is a play held in the middle of a forest, and the only way to get there is on a double-decker bus. Mavis and I, along with the rest of the audience, waited for the bus on the Gilpert Green in a tent with fairy lights and candles. Mavis liked the tent, or marquee as she called it. She put it in her mind of an elegant wedding, and the only thing lacking, as far as she was concerned, was the lubrication of alcohol, preferably gin. To be honest, it wasn't for the free ticket, I wouldn't have bothered. Coronation Street was at a crucial stage, and it was only Mavis's offer to wear her flowery wellies that swung it for me. Mavis doesn't do wellies. We sat at the top of the bus, right at the back, and for the first time through a small film of mist saw Gilpert from above. It was like being back at school again, without the cigarettes. Even the co-op looked impressive. Mavis, who wanted to get into the spirit of Half-Life, had insisted on us visiting the 2 forts, Dunard and Dunardun. We squelched our way through the mud to reach them, and then walked to the top of Dunard. Mavis stood at the top of the hill like someone out of a Victorian drama, as the wind and sound effects mingled together like something out of a film. "I feel like the past has touched me," she said, staring across at the moss. "We used to sneak up here, remember? A bit of rum, some coke, and if we were lucky, one of the McLean boys. We made our own background noises back then." The circle of life," said Mavis, looking pensive. "And it all starts with just a few sound effects." Mavis and I sat through the show. It was long enough to make us glad we brought our cushions, atmospheric enough to make us stay awake and wonder what was happening next, and different enough to make me glad I'd taped Coronation Street rather than watch it. "That was absolutely fantastic," said a woman from behind. "Aye, well, it's amazing what they could do with a few trees and a bit of lighting and some harnesses," said a partner. "And how those trapeze artists hung upside down for so long without getting dizzy," continued a woman. "That was amazing." "I didn't understand it," said Mavis. "You're not meant to understand it," said the woman. "It's the experience. Watching the bats, thinking about death and bones and things." "But 20 quid, I'd want to understand it," said Mavis. "It's the lights, the atmosphere, the ambience." "I can get that with a couple of tea lights and a gin," snapped Mavis. "Still, it makes you think," I said. "About what? A drink at the Argyle?" "No," I said. "About the circle of life, the comings and goings. Are we dead when we stop breathing? Where do we go when we're dead? That sort of thing." Mavis looked at me as if she'd seen me for the first time. "So," said Malcolm, "how was Half-Life then? You see any cremations?" "No," said Mavis, lifting a tray off the drinks off the tray. "Let's just say it was nothing like I expected." Mavis took the tray back to the table. A few from the bus had joined us for a drink. "It was amazing," said one woman at the top of her voice. "Brilliant," said a partner. "What were you expecting?" I said to Mavis. "I don't know," said Mavis. "Something Neanderthalic, I suppose." I don't know what I was expecting either, but as I looked at the television screen on the wall, and then at the fresh-faced people around me arguing over the merits and meanings of Half-Life, it suddenly dawned on me that Coronation Street had not even entered my head once during the whole evening. So there you go, a little bit of Loch Gilpert culture for you. Till next time.